Hello everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I am going to start reading this bad boy. If you've never seen this before, this book is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, and it is a weird one, to say the least. This has been a book on my radar for the longest time, like literal years. I've wanted to get my hands on it, but it is so expensive. The hardcover is like $40 if you want to buy it new, and the paperback, which is what I have, is like $30. I found this in a free little library back in, I want to say, October, somewhere around then, so a couple months ago, and the genuine shock when I found one of my most anticipated reads of all time, something that I've been wanting to get my hands on for eons, in a free little library. It was an insane moment, and I just think about it all the time and how this is like my luckiest find ever. I found a lot of really good books in free little libraries through the years. This one takes the cake. So I'm gonna start reading it and vlog that for you. This how do I describe this? I don't know very many details, but basically there's three parts to it, and I know one of the parts is a haunted house story, kind of. There's a family who discovers that the dimensions of the inside of their house don't match the dimensions of the outside of their house, and then things happen. It's written very strangely, so like if you look on this random page I flipped to, there's only words on the bottom and there's like a footnote. If I can find other examples, there's pictures. There's so much. This is written in a different font. It's like a typewritery font. I know there's some places with other strange things, like there's one word on each of these pages. Like, it's a very experimental style book, and I love things like that, tentatively. I think they're so cool. I think they can be written very well, and I've heard great things about this one, which is why I've been anticipating it for so long, but I feel like it's also very easy to not do an experimental style like this well. Some examples of ones that I like and don't like. For the one that I like, we can say S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. You can actually see it right there. It's the first book on my shelf, and that is written as if it's a library book, so it has the text of an actual book called Ship of Theseus. It's not a real book that exists. It was written for the purpose of this. But then there's margin notes between two different people who were communicating through the book, and it's like different layers to it because they were writing in it at various times throughout years. There's also like inserts in the pages of like postcards and napkins and maps and all sorts of things. It's a crazy time, but I had a wonderful time reading it, and I do want to reread it again because it's been several years. An example of experimental style that I didn't like was, I think it's called The Man XX by Ryan Hughes. That could be completely wrong. It's been a little while, but I read that and it's massive and it just didn't do anything for me. It's about like aliens or something, and it has like tweets interspersed in there. There's one point where there's a QR code you scan, it takes you to a whole musical album that was written for the book, and like crazy stuff that I should have loved, but the actual story itself just wasn't great. In my opinion, I didn't like it. So I've loved some experimental books, I've disliked some experimental books. This is one I'm hoping falls into the loved category. Um, so yeah, I think I'm just rambling now, but I unfortunately can't pick it up right this second. It's like 10 a.m. on March 6th, and unfortunately I have other things to do today first, but I figured I would start this vlog out and just think about this book for several hours before I can actually start reading it. So I am going to let you go here for this clip, and I will see you guys when I actually do have the time to start reading this book. Hello friends, we are here in the bedroom for my first real update on House of Leaves, this bad boy. I am, where's my bookmark at? 106 pages in, so like a seventh, because I think there's 700 something pages. Oh, but that includes an index. Is that part of the reading experience? I truly don't know. Without the index, it's 662 pages. So I'm making my way through this. It has been a couple of days since I've seen you because some health stuff's been happening. Nothing crazy, nothing to worry about. But started at that time of the month and it triggered a multi-day migraine and chronic pain flare-up. So I haven't been doing great, but I've been able to read a little bit, as you saw. And I figured this would be a great time to update you because we're just about to get into the like crazy formatting stuff. So far we haven't been too weird. I will say the story is weird. It's like, how do I explain this? So there's different levels to the story. So the first level is this guy named Zampano, something like that. He's this old man who was writing this. It's basically just like an essay, a literary critique on this movie called The Navidson Report, which when we get one level out, we find out that doesn't really exist. But the Navidson Report is basically this movie where this guy, his long-term partner, and their two kids move to this house, and they find out because there's this like weird hallway that shows up, and they find out that the inside of their house, the measurements don't line up with the outside of their house, and it's really weird. It's like a kind of like a found footage type of thing, but not really. But that's the gist of it. And then they like have people come and like inspect this thing. There's like this strain on the two people's relationship because this guy Navidson, he wants to explore. He's like a world famous photographer known for these like daring action shots, like war photography and stuff like that. And then his partner Karen, she does not want him to go down this hallway. She has like this very severe claustrophobia, and basically she's like, listen, you go down this hallway and I'm leaving with the kids. And he's like, okay, I won't go down the hallway, but we're gonna hire people to go down this hallway. And that's where that goes. So we get the like play by play of this movie by way of the literary critique like essay that like kind of explains it, and it like draws on other resources, some of which are real and some of which aren't, I think. Stuff like that. There's like footnotes, but then the next layer to it is Johnny. He is, I guess, the main character because we get him from like the clearest point of view. Like we're very close in Johnny's point of view, whereas we have all these layers to get to the other ones because Zampano, the old man, was neighbors with Johnny's friend, and one day at 3 a.m., Johnny gets a call from his friend. He's like, hey, remember that old guy, my neighbor? He's dead now. Let's go look at his apartment. And that's how Johnny finds these papers, this manuscript. And so you get the manuscript text, and then you also get footnotes added in by Johnny. And sometimes it's relevant, like translating quotes that weren't translated in the original manuscript. But then sometimes it's just Johnny giving pages upon pages of his life story, and it's fine. I love the whole like Navidson Report part of it, like learning about this house and everything. And I do really enjoy the format of this story, how it's taken to be like a literary critique with people's comments in the footnotes. I think that's really cool. It's just that Johnny's actual life, I don't care about. Like if it had been a different kind of character, maybe I would like it more, because I do think it's interesting that we get this other character's viewpoints added on top of it. I just don't care about Johnny very much. He is just talking all the time about this stripper that he's in love with and his job. He does like front desk stuff at this tattoo parlor. He talks about these women that he's sleeping with. He goes out drinking with his buddy, and he does a lot of drugs. And like that's really the whole of his life.
but it's like got this undercurrent of him kind of being, the idea of being haunted by the narrative. I feel like Johnny is being haunted by this manuscript that he found, and it's like slowly seeping into his life, which I think is so cool, and I really like that. It's just that Johnny himself is someone I don't care about. Like, I wish it had been a different character there. Um, but yeah, um, that's where it is so far. Oh, we also have one layer beyond Johnny that we see a couple of times, and that is the editors, where they will put in a footnote here and there. I think there's only been like 4 or 5 so far in this first 100 pages, but they are the people who took this thing from Johnny. So Johnny took this manuscript from Zampano when he died, and like he kind of like typed it up and everything, added his own footnotes, made like a couple of changes here and there, I think, and then the editors are the people who then took that and edited it for publication, and that's how it's presented. Like, that's what you're told. That's what this is that manuscript. And so far that's all it's been. So let's see if I can open to a page. So here, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is actual text, and then starting here is where the footnotes are on this page, and then all the way down here, and then this whole page, and then probably the next page is more of just footnotes. Like I said, Johnny talks a lot, but from here on out, the formatting gets even crazier. So I'll show you in another clip. I don't feel like holding it up to flip these pages. I'll like do an overhead shot showing you how weird it gets. And I'm excited, but also like this already takes a lot of brain power to really understand as you're reading through it. It's gonna be intense, but I'm so looking forward to it. Honestly, this book has made me kind of want to go back to like academia, I guess. Not like this book makes me want to apply to grad school, but like it makes me miss literary critique. If you didn't know, I have a degree in English literature and creative writing. So I spent 4 years studying literature and writing my own literary critique, reading others, pulling sources together, that sort of thing. And I love it. It's so much fun to me. And this makes me really miss that. I've been out of school for 4 years now. I graduated in 2020. And just, wow. I mean, I know I can write literary critique now without like having to be in an academic setting, but I don't really have access to the same resources that I had when I was in school, so that's kind of a bummer. But like, reading this just really makes me yearn for that life that I had, which is not the vibes I was getting when I picked this up. I was not expecting that to be the case. But I'm going to quit rambling here and get on with this, and I will update you when I have more to talk about, which, given that this book, I will probably have a lot to talk about, so I will see you then.
Hello, friends. It is currently 10:15 a.m. on the 11th. Happy Monday. I've got an update on House of Leaves, which I've brought with me in here, even though I've been doing all of my reading from bed. It's a very chunky book, and so what I've been doing is like laying down on my bed and just having it open in front of me. But as you can see, I'm halfway through, so I figured it was time to update you. I've read several more chapters since we last talked, one of which took me 3 hours to read. It's actually the chapter I read immediately after we talked, and I think I got a little bit of a flip through of it. The weird formatting and stuff that's the reason why it took me 3 hours to read it. But it's all about like the labyrinth, and oh boy, did it deliver. Actually, did I talk to you about it already? I genuinely don't know. If I've already said this, then just skip ahead. But basically, it is just so disorienting, like the actual labyrinth would be, and there's like footnotes that take you back to previous footnotes. There was like 10 or 12 instances of a footnote taking you back to the title of the chapter, which is something about a house with no entrance and a house with no exit, and all this stuff. There was a chapter on the Minotaur, like separate from the labyrinth, a couple chapters later, where most of it was like crossed out and stuff. That was a really interesting one. I also really like the chapter on Jacob and Esau. I have no idea if I'm actually pronouncing that correctly. Esau, that's how I would pronounce it anyway. Which is a pair of twins from the Bible. And if you know nothing about me, you should know that I love stories about twins. I'm a twin myself. And apparently, the main guy in this, not the main guy as in Johnny, the main guy in the Navidson report, who is Navidson, I think his first name is Will. He invites his brother when he first realizes something is wrong with the house, and apparently they're twins. I don't think they said that earlier on. I think it doesn't come up until the chapter on twins, but that was a really good chapter. It was all told in like fragments and stuff, and it was really cool. I'm just having a fantastic time, and I cannot wait to continue on. So I've got, oh, this page is mostly X's. This whole big paragraph here, there's like 2 whole words in that, and then the rest is X's. But like, got some other weird stuff going on, and then the end of it is the like appendices, and there's a bunch of pictures, and then we get more words. Oh, I think this is a letter. Oh, they're letters. Hey, September 19th, that's my birthday. Although the year is 1985 and I was not born then. That's pretty fun. So we've got a lot of really interesting things coming up in this book, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. It's just wild. But I figured I'd give you a quick little update, and so that was this. I have so much to do today, but I kind of just want to sit here and read. So I'm going to check off a couple of things from my to-do list, and then I'm going to get back to reading, because this book is just drawing me in. Like, I need to know what happens. So I will see you guys in a little while.
Hello, friends. It is almost 7 p.m. on the 12th, and I have done so much reading today. You could see that. That's all I have left. I read well over 100 pages today. Oop, flip too far. Where am I? I'm on page 530, which means I have about 170 pages left, and it's just the exhibits and, what is it called? Go back to the table of contents. Where is the table of contents? Hello? These pages are so hard to turn. They're like coded. Appendix. There's 2 different appendices. One about Zampano and one about Johnny. But yeah, I've read through... Oh, there's 3. There's a 3rd appendix that's only a couple pages long. But that's all I have left is exhibits 1 through 6 and the 3 appendices. Yeah. Things have gotten crazy because I finished the, like, main bulk of the story. I really like how the Navidson record, is that what it's called? I feel like I think it's the Navidson record. Sometimes I feel like I've accidentally called it the Navidson report. Yeah, it's a record. If I've said report, it's just because I'm dumb. It's the Navidson record. I like how that part, like, played out. That was really cool. Block the light so it's not weird in the shot. I'm not a really big fan of how Johnny's story played out. There was just a lot all at once and kind of out of nowhere, but also I wasn't really a fan of Johnny's story anyway. So, like, I'm not really disappointed that I didn't like the ending of that part. But I still had a great time reading. There was something... Oh, because I haven't been reading for the past couple of hours. I'm doing other stuff, but now I have time to update you, so I'm updating you. There was one part where the book became, like, self-referential in that Navidson is in the hallway weird thing, and he's been traveling for days and days and days, and he brought a book with him, and there's one part where he's like reading and he's using matches to read, and then when he runs out of matches, he like rips out the pages that he's already read and lights those on fire. I guess he saved a match to do that. I don't know how he lit them on fire if he used up all his matches. Anyway, and he has to like burn the whole book in order to have enough light to read. Like he's reading the last page while it's on fire because that's the only light that he has. And the book he's reading is House of Leaves, but House of Leaves is the book about the Navidson record. So how is he reading House of Leaves if House of Leaves is about the movie that hasn't been made yet because he's still exploring the house? What? It was just crazy when they said that. I was just like, oh, okay, I guess we're getting paradoxical up in here. There's also a really interesting part where they mentioned, I think that they say that the book he has is 736 pages long. And I'm like, that's not House of Leaves then, because House of Leaves, this book, is 709 pages. You're not going to be able to see it, but that number right there is 709. And then I remember there were a couple of places where there was like missing pages in the document that Johnny took from Zampano's house. And I bet, I'm not going to go back and try to find those places and count them, but if I'm 99.99999% sure that if you go back to where it says like missing blank pages here and blank pages there, if you add them up and add them to the number of pages in this actual physical printed book, you get 736 or whatever it was. Yeah, that's my thought anyway, and I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. But I am so close to finishing this, and I am kind of excited in a weird way because like I've already read the story and I know what happens, but like the supplemental material, I guess we can call it, I'm like very excited to see how that changes my view on things, because like I said, there's a section all on like the Zampano stuff and then there's a section all on the Johnny stuff, and maybe the Johnny stuff will make me like his story a little bit more. Who knows? Yeah, I'm aiming to finish this maybe tomorrow, who knows? I do have so many pages left, but it's not like dense. There's some letters, there's some poems, a bunch of pictures. So it shouldn't take me super long. I think if I have another reading session like I had today, I could easily finish this tomorrow. So that's the plan anyway. And I guess I'll see you when I finish this, and I could close out the vlog. I really thought this would take me eons, because it's so long and so weird, but like, it's had me hooked, so I'm kind of flying through it. But yeah, I will see you guys when I'm finished with House of Leaves.
Hello, I have not finished House of Leaves yet. It is 9:46 a.m. on the 13th, and I sat down and read a couple of pages. Then I remembered two things that I wanted to tell you about. One of them, yes, the first one, gosh, I'm frazzled. The first one has to do with, like, being meta and everything, like how in the Navidson record, he's reading the book House of Leaves, which is about the Navidson record, so it, like, loops, I guess. Similarly, at one point, Johnny goes to this concert, and in one of this band's songs that he's never heard this band before, whatever, it's just some band that is playing at this bar, they have the line, the 5.5-minute hallway. I'm sorry if you can hear things happening out there. My boyfriend and my cats are doing whatever. But yeah, and he's like, I gotta talk to these people and figure out if they've seen this movie. And the people are like, no, we read this book called House of Leaves by Zampano and Johnny Truant. And he's like, what? Because apparently he published this book when he was doing who knows what, drugs probably. He had a long string of bad days. And he thinks about telling them who he is, but he doesn't, because he has no memory of actually publishing this book, just like working on it. And like, that's wild. It gives me the same vibes as Cujo by Stephen King, because Stephen King has said that he has no memory of writing and publishing that book because he was just on drugs the whole time. And it's just crazy to think that that kind of thing can happen. The other thing I wanted to bring up that I forgot yesterday is on the copyright page down at the bottom, it says a note on this edition, and it's got a box around full color because this is a full color edition, and it says the word house is in blue, which it is even on the cover. Every time the word house appears, even in other languages, it's in blue. Minotaur and all struck passages are in red, which I would call this pink, but sure, red. Then it says the only struck line in chapter XXI 21 appears in purple. It doesn't. It's in yellow, which is interesting because on the copyright page, I don't know if you can see that, probably not, but it says first edition in yellow and it's struck. The same as, oh, I didn't mark the page. Can I easily find chapter 21? Probably not. Ooh, wait, what number was that? I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to deal with me trying to find this. That's 11. I'm not even close. XVII is not. Oop, that's 20. I gotta be getting close. 21. Now I just have to find the struck line, which I think was at the bottom of a page. Watch I go through all this and I don't even find it, and you're just sitting here watching me flip through. Oop. So here, you can't see the yellow, but you see the strike through. It says, I'm sorry, I have nothing left except this story. And then the struck through part is what I'm remembering now. And I'm like, why is it struck? But like, why does it say it's on the copyright page? Why does it say it's going to be struck through in purple, but it's in yellow? What the heck is that? Yeah, just a weird thing that I noticed. But I still have plenty to go through, which I'm thinking maybe I won't get through today because it's more words and less pictures than I thought. I am not at all like in the frame. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm going to read as much as I can and maybe finish it today. We'll see how it goes with the other stuff that I've got going on. But I will definitely see you then for real this time. This is my last update before I finish, so see you in a bit. Okay, one more update because what is this? What is this that's actually read and struck through? What is going on? Who knows? Okay, bye. Hello, friends. It is now 11:20 a.m., still the 13th, of course, and I've officially finished House of Leaves. You can see I have my reading journal here that I've been setting up, and this book was insane, which, like, shouldn't be a surprise, but, like, I really enjoyed this. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I was contemplating giving it a 10 out of 10 because on my scale, 10 out of 10, the like little phrase that I gave it to like signify books that I would give a 10 out of 10 is, damn, I wish I wrote this. And this thing, I would love to be able to write something of this caliber. Maybe one day, but definitely not today. So like, yeah, I kind of wish I had written this. My cat is crinkling paper just outside the office. She might also start screaming at the door. We're just gonna let her do her thing because I gotta wrap this up before I forget my thoughts. But yeah, so I definitely wish I could have written something like this, but I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10 because there is just some stuff, some little details that I didn't like. Although I guess kind of not little details. I'm not a huge fan of Johnny's story. I just don't like reading stories about sex and drugs and all that when that's like the only thing there, which really is not the only thing there because it is part of this larger narrative. I just didn't like Johnny's story though, so that's why it's a 9 out of 10. But like, this was a fantastic experience. I think I will return to this book at some point in the future to annotate it myself because I think that would be a really cool thing to add to this book. Not sure how it would go though. Geez, Chloe, these pages are like kind of coded, so I don't know how like highlighting and stuff would work. I'd have to find the right markers and pens and stuff to do my annotations, but that is something I'd be interested in doing. I guess I'm gonna wrap this up here now because I've pretty much said all of my thoughts, and my cat is going to continue to be a menace. But yeah, overall, highly enjoyed this experience and would love to read more books in the same kind of experimental vein. I thought I had more to that sentence, but I didn't. I'm gonna go now. So thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.